The heavy wooden doors of the guild hall swung open, and the morning sunlight poured in, illuminating the faces of the newly formed party. A palpable energy hung in the air as the group stepped outside, each member sizing up the others who would be their companions on this journey. Cedric of the Radiant Dawn led the way, his armor gleaming brightly as he surveyed the bustling streets of Elderglen. "I trust you all received the details of our quest," he began, his voice steady and confident. "We have a goblin den to clear out, and I am honored to be facing this challenge with you." Selim Thorn hung back slightly, his sharp gaze flicking between Cedric and the others. "Goblins, huh?" he remarked, a hint of skepticism in his tone. "I've dealt with my share of them, but I hope we're prepared for their tricks." Elenara Slarian, adjusting her flowing blue robe, stepped closer, her curiosity piqued. "As long as we work together, we should be able to handle whatever they throw at us. Just stick to the plan." Her confident demeanor was accompanied by an air of authority, but her eyes sparkled with intrigue about her new companions. Raxith, the fearsome warrior of the Lizardmen tribe, towered nearby, his imposing figure a stark contrast to the others. "I am eager for battle," he said, his voice a guttural growl filled with excitement. "Let them come. I will show them the strength of my tribe." Lyra Silverpaw, perched on the edge of the group, nodded in agreement but added, "Let's not underestimate them. Goblins can be cunning, and we'll need to stay on our toes." She glanced around, assessing the group with a mix of caution and optimism, her silver fur glinting in the morning light. Noticing the tension in the air, Cedric decided to lighten the mood. "You know," he began with a warm smile, "my first encounter with goblins was quite embarrassing. I was just a squire, eager to prove myself. I charged into a den, sword raised high, only to trip over a root and land face first in the mud. The goblins were more amused than scared. Laughter erupted among the group, easing their nerves. Selim chuckled, shaking his head. "That sounds like something I'd do. I've had my own share of mishaps. Once, I tried to pickpocket a nobleman only to discover he was a retired adventurer with a keen eye for trouble. Let's just say I ended up with a very bruised ego and a rather embarrassing story." Elenara smirked, her confidence flickering. "I'm relieved to know I'm not the only one with a history of blunders. My first spell backfired spectacularly during a demonstration at the academy. Instead of summoning a small flame, I accidentally set my robes ablaze. Let's just say my peers never let me forget it." Raxith laughed heartily, his deep voice rumbling like thunder. "You all have your struggles, but I was raised in the heart of battle. My training was grueling. My father ensured I understood honor and strategy from the moment I could wield a wooden spear. But there was one time I mistook a scarecrow for an enemy. I charged in and ended up with a face full of hay." Lyra joined in, her laughter blending with the others. "That's a better story than mine. My father wanted me to follow in his footsteps as a blacksmith, but I always dreamed of being an archer. I spent more time climbing trees to practice than in the forge. My first bow was made from a branch I found in the woods. It broke mid-shot, and I nearly fell out of the tree." As they shared their stories, the initial tension began to dissipate, replaced by a growing camaraderie. Cedric felt a sense of warmth within the group as they learned about each other's pasts, their laughter intertwining like the fates they were about to forge together. "Let's make this a journey to remember," Cedric said, glancing at each member of the group. With newfound determination, they stepped forward, ready to face the unknown together. As they continued their journey down the winding path away from Elderglen, the atmosphere buzzed with the excitement of their adventure. The laughter from earlier still lingered, and a sense of camaraderie began to form. Cedric glanced at his companions, the thought of their identity as a team dawning upon him. "Now that we're officially a party, we should probably decide on a name," he suggested. "It'll help unify our purpose and give us something to rally behind." "True," Selim replied, a glimmer of mischief in his eyes. "How about the Goblin Hunters? Very straightforward, don't you think?" "Too ordinary," Elenara chimed in, shaking her head dismissively. "We need something that captures our essence. How about the Arcane Avengers? It has a nice ring to it." Raxith crossed his arms, considering. "I like the sound of something more fierce. Perhaps the Lizardmen Legion? It reflects my heritage and might strike fear into our foes." Lyra chuckled, her keen eyes sparkling with inspiration. "While I appreciate the idea, I think we should keep our name a little less intimidating. How about the Radiant Seekers? It ties in with Cedric's title and emphasizes our quest for light in the darkness." Cedric smiled at Lyra's suggestion, but then added, "It might be a bit too close to my own name." We should strive for something unique to all of us. Then how about the Fellowship of the Dawn? Selim proposed, his tone more earnest. It suggests unity and our mission to protect others. I like that, Raxith agreed, nodding. It feels strong and united. A name that speaks of our bond. Elenara considered this, her fingers tapping thoughtfully against her chin. What if we mixed it up a bit? The Dawn's Guardians? It highlights our role as protectors while still evoking that sense of hope. Or we could go for something whimsical, Lyra suggested with a grin. How about the Mischief Makers? After all, we're out to stir up some trouble for those goblins. Selim laughed, and even Raxith let out a deep chuckle. That might not inspire fear in our enemies, he said, grinning. The banter continued, each suggestion sparking laughter and new ideas, their voices rising above the rustling leaves and the distant sounds of the forest. With each name discussed, they were weaving a tapestry of shared purpose and camaraderie, binding their fates together. Finally, Cedric raised his hand to call for attention. All right, let's narrow it down. We have the Radiant Seekers, the Fellowship of the Dawn, the Dawn's Guardians, and the Mischief Makers. What do we think? As they considered their options, the forest around them seemed to come alive, echoing with their laughter and the promise of the adventure that lay ahead. Comment down below what you think they should name their party.